Hi, this is part 2 of a two-part video of Angela Von Son with Angela Von Son, the founder of Procrastinationcoach.net. If you want to see part 1, it will be in the info cards above. I will try to make it an end card at the end of the video. In this video, we will discuss the top 3 excuses that she hears from people to use to procrastinate. We'll also discuss her book, From Do It Later to Do It Now in 10 Days. I got the book. It's a great book, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so what are the top 3 procrastination excuses, or excuses to not work on what you should be working on or need to be working on? I don't like to use the word should, need to be working on.
I like the difference that you make, because we often have activities that enable procrastination, but before we enter an activity like that, there is an excuse or a reason why you think, oh, not now. And one of the famous ones is, I don't feel like it now, which is a bigger problem for self-employed people, for writers, for activities that you can actually leave. I used to work in a normal job, and there it just has to get done. And there was much less space to procrastinate now that I'm self-employed. So now there are the tasks that I like. I'll feel like them sooner than others. So they get done and others not. So I don't feel like it. And I had a brilliant response once from a client. We were talking about the eat the frog anti-procrastination technique, like do the thing you're most likely to procrastinate on first thing in the morning. And he was going to do that. And I joked about how I am very grumpy in the morning, and I'm never able to do that. And he said to me, well, why not? If you're grumpy anyway, you might as well get that done, and then it's done. And that just blew my mind. And I thought, oh my goodness, I am using the I don't feel like it excuse on myself. So I learned from that, I don't feel like it is a much heard excuse. And it may be true, but you also may never feel like it. I mean, when it comes to household tasks, I'll do them out of despair.
Ongoing task. It's not
exactly
the problem with that one. Now, I have somewhat solved it. I still hate it. With routine, but the household tasks are menial and ever present. Anyway, that's that. Oh, I wanted to mention there is a gym that opened up here called Eat the Frog, and every time I see it, I think of you.
I think it's a brilliant name.
Anyway.
So I don't feel like it is a famous one. The other one is, well, I can do that tomorrow. There's no hurry. The not now, later version. And that's tied to the trigger where the reward or the result feels too far away to feel meaningful. So whatever tasks or activity are closer, they offer more opportunity for satisfaction, for serotonin, for, hey, look, I did something today. So not now, but tomorrow is a better day. That's another one of the famous one, because it's always tomorrow and it's never tomorrow. So when I'll do it tomorrow happens, one of the things people can try is to find out, like, okay, but what would make it meaningful to do it today, or what would give me results today? So that it becomes more real already.
Yeah, I've used that, and also I try to do that square: unimportant, important, urgent, non-urgent, and
Eisenhower square.
It's a difficult square to keep. So that not urgent, important moves into urgent, important. Quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, but
unless you start planning,
and I'm doing well, life rolls on when you're in that not urgent or important square.
And it's like what I found when I try to work from that Eisenhower square. It's in Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Effective People. Is that one of the things I procrastinate on is planning, because I don't like planning. I don't feel like
the planning, but I spend
planning
too
is
much time.
difficult. Yeah. So one of the searches I've had to do is find a way of planning that works for me.
Okay.
And then it turned out that a planning is something I can fail at. So I have a fear of failure.
Yeah.
When it comes to planning.
Yeah.
And that's a short version, because I have a lot of other issues with planning, but it's like I've learned a lot about that one little square from the Eisenhower square. It's like, okay, I can so see why it's useful, and why am I not able to apply it? And that's where coaching comes in, like to go to the deeper causes and think, okay, how can I work with that?
Yeah.
Which work around, because tips and tricks can help sometimes, but sometimes they don't.
Yeah. I think the problem I usually have with when I start procrastinating or putting things off is I forget to ask myself, why am I doing this? Like, I don't recognize the procrastination.
Yeah.
I just, I don't recognize it till the end of the day, and then I'm like, oh, oops.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's actually one of the questions you can ask yourself, like, how can I recognize procrastination?
Yeah.
And if it always happens to me without realizing it, how can I build in moments during the day where I check, or where I create the space to feel like, what am I actually doing? Because without the space to check in with your body, check in with your mind, you might actually not notice, because you are distracted, focusing on whatever's happening.
Yeah, that makes me think of a quote. I'm paraphrasing. I used it while running, and it was, the body will always tire, but the mind will never. And the mind is what pushes the body. And that's what I think I have to... My mind is the one that gets distracted. My body will just go along with what the mind says.
Well, and the other side of that quote is, if you've ever been depressed, then the mind does get very tired. And that also leads to a lot of not getting things done. So the quote is true in some situations, but not true in other situations.
This is true.
Yeah. I find it important to make that, what's the word? Not decision, but to make the distinction. Because quotes that can be inspiring can also be damaging.
Yeah.
They need to be in the right context, and that's what the internet does for us. It's like inspirational quotes all over, but they may not apply to you because you're in different circumstances.
Yeah.
And then people end up feeling bad about themselves again.
Yeah. I agree about the quick quotes. I will say, though, it had helped me a great deal running.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Your body is like, I don't feel like running. Then you're like, okay, change that way of thinking.
Yeah, so the right quote in the right context is just amazing.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's true.
And really works.
Yeah.
But the right quote in the wrong context.
Quick quote, love yourself. And I'm like, come on, stop it with the love yourself.
Tell me how.
Yeah. And that's supposed to, I don't understand. I have a Facebook friend who likes to just put up these inspirational quotes that there's so many of them that it's like it becomes I want to say deafening, or there's no point to them because there's so many.
Yeah, and there's a great deep line of thought behind most of them, but if you only get the quote, then it gets hard to relate to them at some point.
Yes, that's basically it. And unfortunately, the internet has damaged those inspirational quotes.
We get cat videos in return.
Yeah. I'll just watch. I was going to say the cat videos or the dog videos. That just gives me a laugh, and I'm like, yay! And I will have to say, now that we're talking about it, when you watch a cat video or a dog video. You got to be careful not to get out of hand. And I have to say, I find with me, Instagram is the best way to see it because I'm able to get off of Instagram. But there's a reason I set rules for Instagram, not the other places. But anyway, when you do watch them, it does give you, it must be a boost of endorphins, and then you're happy and you can move on. So that's where the break is nice, and you see it and you're like, oh, that was so cute. Life is good. And then you can move on. But so what's the third excuse people use?
Well, hard to choose from.
There's so many.
Yes, exactly. I'm wondering which one. I'm not sure what's the excuse that goes with it, but actually I think we often don't realize what our excuse is when we're not sure of how to do something.
Yes! Oh my God, that's my number one. And that's what I was saying previously about being overwhelmed. And I'm overwhelmed because I don't know how to. It seems like because usually, especially as a self-employed, even as a writer, you have all these different characters, and as a self-employed, you have all these. You're playing different hats, and you don't. It looks like one big mess, like I said, like your logo, which I'll try to put up on this video to show people your logo. But it's like one big massive lump, and it's like, how do you untangle that? You know, like a ball of yarn that's all knotted up, and you have to untangle it, or a necklace or something, which I'm actually good at, but not when it comes to, yes, that would be mine.
And that can hide between things like I don't feel like it, or behind maybe tomorrow. But if you manage to realize that that's what's going on in the moment, then you can start looking for, hey, how can I find a way to get this how part, to figure this out, to find pieces of the puzzle, so that I don't know how is, I think, one of the main ones that, because if we could say to ourselves, wow, I don't know how, I feel really overwhelmed, we would open up to, okay, I can work on the overwhelm, I can talk to somebody about how they did it, I can do research. I mean, we can think about strategies, but somehow we forget to spend some time with the, hey, I don't know how, and that's what's keeping me back.
And you're right. It's a two-step for me. When I find I'm being distracting, or I could do it later, and then when I get to the end of the day and I'm like, oh, I didn't get anything done, then I look, okay, why were you distracted? I was like, oh, I'm feeling that overwhelming feeling. Yes. Then you're right. It's not clear that you don't know how. And then once I get to that point, then it's a little bit easier, but that how is difficult to overcome. That is a big obstacle. Yeah. Especially as a writer and as a self-employed, because you said you can go talk to someone. It's hard to talk to someone when one, as a writer, if you need, is my writing good or something like that, people are kind of sick of you asking all the time. But that's what I suppose the Facebook group is for, and for writing groups. But also as a self-employed, there's not many people out there you can ask. Yeah.
No, and then we get on Facebook.
That's when
or Instagram or Twitter,
and we see it as research. When then you get on research, and then they have the ads, and then you get distracted going there, and then you start answering other people's questions, and
because that makes you feel useful, so you don't feel like you're procrastinating. Yeah.
That one
doesn't apply to me at all. You can tell, right?
Yeah, no, that one I think everyone, I like to think everyone can relate to. But yeah, that is most definitely my underlying biggest obstacle. And
Yeah.
and obviously I've gotten somewhere, so I have been able to do it. But sometimes I'll, even when I know it's the how and I know I need to handle it, I just sit at the computer and not try. I was like, okay, don't get distracted. You just sit there like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Because
and that will happen. I mean, it's a biological reaction. The
yeah,
one you describe is a freeze.
yeah.
It's also that if people really dislike a task they need to do because they expect the process to be uncomfortable or ugly or whatever, brain research has shown that our brain responds to thinking about a task like that as if it's physical pain. And what
Oh,
we do with physical
wow.
pain is we take, like we jerk our body back and think, hey, there's danger there. So you get away from the source of pain. And research seems to, I mean, I have a scientific background, so I don't want to say science says all the time, but research seems to indicate that our negative thinking around something causes the same reaction in our brain like, ooh, danger, avoid. So it makes total sense that sometimes we freeze or sometimes we fight or sometimes we flight. It's
Panic,
just
I
that,
think, sets in for me. Panic.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I'm not going to achieve anything if, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Um, so let's go to your, wait, hold on. To your book,
Mm-hmm.
which, what is it? From Do It Later to Do It Now in 10 Days. And I know you also at one time had a course that was very good. I think it was related to the book. And I in 10 days, I learned so much from that course and some of the techniques I still use today. But yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about what people can expect from your book?
Yeah. I'll I'll show it to start
Oh,
with
good.
because it's different. Somebody asked me recently, like, is it for children? Because it has a cartoon on it. And I said no. And I was a bit, it made me insecure because I know why I chose a different way of working with it. And it's because procrastination is such a serious subject already. It makes us feel bad. But I wanted something playful, something nice to look at so that we can start working from it with a lighter heart. But the guy looked at me like, oh, I'm never going to use a book like that. And I
Oh,
thought, okay, well,
I never
well,
thought that, but I took the course, I think, as you were developing the book,
yeah.
and it's a very grown up book. I mean, I guess you can do some of the techniques with some of the. Do you have the worksheets in there?
Yeah, it's actually it's a book was it comes from the course I did back then. I wanted it to be a standalone thing that people could do,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to go into the pitfall of being another one of those. Well, do this, and you're cured
Yeah.
because well, one of the first things that can happen is that you try, you think it's not working, and you stop trying.
Yeah.
So what I did with the book is I work with a number of the techniques you can find on the internet, like eat the frogs in there, Pomodori strategy, so work with time blocks is in there. But then the next page will say something like, well, what if this is not working?
Yeah.
And I've called them first aid kits. So it's like, okay, you can find a technique on the internet. This is the core of the technique. Okay. And you're trying. What next? So there's a kind of a self-coaching page after the first one. So, okay, you're trying to get the technique done. Now let's step into the reality. It's not working yet. How can you adjust? How can you maybe be more playful around it? What do you need to do to find out for a bit longer? Is this a technique that can work for me or not? I mean, maybe you apply eat the frog, which is supposed to be for a like manageable task, something you procrastinate on. But if the frog is like a full day of writing, can you apply eat the frog to that, or is that not a frog, but like it's eat Saturnus if you try to do it that way?
Yeah.
So I've been trying to add pages that make it, well, that help the people who work with the book, like the way I worked in the group, like, okay, you're trying, what happens next, and how can we move you past that phase? So it's the worksheets. It's a pity they're not in color, but it would have been too expensive.
Yeah.
But it's like a number of the worksheets. This one was the procrastination pie I just showed. Here's the monster.
That's
You
one
see
I
it?
remember. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so sweet. I like it. It's a friendly monster. And also one that I'm really happy about is in this one little page, there are so many different, let's say, therapy techniques that enter the space, like check with your bodily reactions, check with your thoughts. So it helps people to discover in themselves like what's going on and take a break from the automatic response to procrastination that's like, oh, it's run away. But it's like, no, okay,
That's
something's
something
going on. Look at it.
That's something new that I don't think you had in your course. I should get the book so those days I
Ooh!
have at the end of and
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, now why didn't I do anything today? But yes.
Yeah, or maybe at the moment when you find yourself procrastinating, just stop the activity that's facilitating the procrastination and just start working with the worksheet. And then some questions
Oh, that's an
might,
interesting concept.
yeah, because
Oh,
you will at least stop the facilitating activity.
yeah.
And then maybe, I mean, one of the questions is check for bodily reactions. Where in your body do you feel relaxed, tense, warm, cold? So you try to make contact with your body. Well, for some people that's easy. For some people it's not. So if it resonates, there are discoveries there. If not, that's the next question. Check for emotions. You may experience some form of fear, anger, sadness, any other emotion. So from wherever your brain's at, the question for emotions asks you to get in touch with with the part of your brain where that's and body where those are located and see like, hey, what's really going on here? Then thoughts, check for reactions in your brain. What do you think when you think about the thing you want to do? That's why you get clear on your thoughts, and that might take some some writing even. Like if you write down a whole train of thoughts, then it's
Yes.
like, oh my goodness, was I thinking that? No wonder that I
I'm a
didn't
big
start that
proponent
task.
of free writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I thought I didn't feel like it, but I realize now, well, I have this fear of when I bring it out
Yeah.
and people will respond, it can be that big. And then the last question is check for reactions related to action. What do you want to do at this point? Run away is one of the things that comes up for me sometimes. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's an emotion there. Or, oh, but I kind of want to get it done, but I don't know how. Okay, so I want to solve the how. It's like, it's a self-diagnosis sheet in a way. In the moment.
Very nice. I think I'm going to have to pick it up now because it sounds like you added a lot new, more new information too since it's been a while since I took
It's
that.
been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love doing the course, but I, I I do a lot of coursework already, so I try to focus on coaching one-on-one instead of delivering a lot of coaches, because coaching one-on-one is where my absolute favorite is, because I get to spend everything I have in knowledge and experience and intuition with what one person wants to achieve and help them go there, get there. That's just so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when
I
we
can see them
when we
growing.
head into the dark parts, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Afterwards, maybe, but still. Yeah.
Well, cool. I actually, before we go, I should ask, what would someone expect from one of your coaching sessions? Basically, I know helping them overcome challenges of procrastination, but I'm guessing it's a bit more than just that as well.
I always try to combine practical things that create results soon, like try out this tip or trick, or how can you get things moving, with working on the deeper layer as well to make lasting changes.
Okay.
So if someone is really perfectionistic, one of the things, and that of course contributes to procrastination, one of the things they might need to or want to develop is to still feel alive when things are not perfect, and still feel okay about themselves when things are not perfect. It can be that someone is, well, let's say, has a fear of success. So we'll work on getting things done, but also like, hey, what's going on there with the fear of success? And what can we, what's the word? What can we heal about it? I'm going to use that word. It's a bit of a vague word, but it does feel like getting more healthy when those part of your brain, a part of your body let go of something old that's not needed anymore. Mm. So at one time, fear of success it was able to hold you safe from whatever was going on in your life. And that time's over now, maybe. So let's try to see, is there a possibility for success? Are you willing to risk it? Okay, so how can you deal with the feeling of success once it's there? I mean, that can even be taking in a genuine compliment. That can be a struggle for people. So it's always practical and a deeper layer if I can do it my way.
Yeah. You said something and I forgot what it was.
Fear of success related, maybe?
About the healing. I forget. We're going to have to do another interview then.
Cool. I spend enough time working home alone, so talking is always nice.
So I will say the website is procrastinationcoach.net.
Yeah, procrastination with an R.
Procrastination.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too early and I need another cup of coffee. Procrastinationcoach.net.
Yes.
And it's Angela von Schoen, correct?
Yes, S-O-N, yes.
And then the book is From Do It Later to Do It Now in 10 Days.
Yes, and it's available on Amazon in paperback and from my website in PDF.
And you have a Kindle version as well, right?
No, I haven't, and there's a reason for that. The worksheets are not scalable.
Oh.
So I do want to make a digital version somehow, somewhen, the Kindle one, but I haven't figured out yet what decisions I need to make. Do I rewrite the book? Do I find a way to turn the worksheets into a more Kindle-friendly format? I don't know yet.
The PDF, and I think
I
PDF you can look at through a...
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Kindle doesn't take it that way.
Yeah, no, it's like I tried and it went boom. There was, yeah. But also if people buy the book and then send me the invoice and say, could I have the PDF as well? Because I read both ways, then I just send them the PDF. I want them to have the course, the workbook, and the format doesn't matter much to me. It's like, I love that people still read paper. I do a lot. I love it when they use, well, not an e-reader in my case, but I want to have it with them on their phone or whatever. So
when it comes to workbooks, I prefer the hard copy myself because it's a workbook.
Yeah.
But I can understand having a PDF if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna redo it over and over again.
Yeah, and print the sheets or just to look at it as a digital reminder. It's been like you can work with it in many different ways, and I want to enable that. So a Kindle version is definitely on my wish list, but it needs to be different from what it is now.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Angela. I will
Thank you.
Keep in touch on Facebook, I'm sure. And
yes.
We'll have to do this again because I enjoyed the conversation with you.
I'd love to. It's like it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about because my heart's in there. So yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this interview with Angela Von Son. Again, if you want to see part 1 of the video, you could check it out here. We hope to have a playlist of all the interviews that we do with writing or writers or people who can help you with writing. Her book is From Do It Later to Do It Now in 10 Days. That's what it looks like. You can find it on Amazon. And I believe you can find it at procrastinationcoach.net as well. I also would like to ask you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done already. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and we need your help to do that. Please subscribe, please share to those who you think will find this helpful, and click on the little bell that's next to the subscribe button so you can get notifications when we put up a new video. I'm hoping to start writing sprints next week. Every day at 12:30 we're going to try and do a live one, and I hope to see you there.